Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, I'm going to show you 8 tools that I use almost every day that I think are must-haves as a Ford technician. First thing on this list are these Harbor Freight push pin pliers. You can get these for $10. These have a kind of curved jaw to them, and you can actually grab the inside of a double slot opening push pin, grab it like this, and actually pull it out. I use this a lot for Bronco undershields and for Ford Fusion bumper removal. Second on this list, I have this pair of locking hose clamp pliers. I got these off of the Cornwell truck. They're available for about $16. They have slotted ends, so these are actually really good for those hose clamps that lock when you press them all the way down. And one of my favorite features is this locking portion. So when you open these up and put them over a hose clamp, you can slide this over, and when it gets to one of the locks, it will not open back up. So if you're taking off like a trans vent plug or something like that, you can close them all the way down and they will hold it for you. You don't have to keep squeezing, which makes life a world easier when you're trying to take off like a transmission fill plug or things like that. Next up is this Harbor Freight 14-inch pipe wrench. These are cheap. I think this one was about $7. If you've ever worked on a bunch of Ford products, you know that not all the inner tie rods are the same size, and that some of them actually don't have flats to grab at all. They're completely round. That's where this thing comes in. This is cheap, and it makes the ultimate inner tie rod tool. You can use them on pretty much everything. I haven't found one inner tie rod it can't take out. Another good recommendation are these fuel and transmission line disconnect tools, specifically the metal ones, not the plastic ones. And these are great for 2008 to 2012 Ford Fusions for doing the trans lines, where you remove the transmission lines from the actual transmission itself and replace them due to them leaking, which is a common problem. And having the right tools makes that job a ton easier, and you can make a ton of money on that job. This one's not for just the Ford guys. This is for anybody whose manufacturer uses a two-piece lug nut. This is made by CP Tools, and it's an 18.5 on one side and a 19.5 on the other. The half size makes it way easier to get off swollen lug nuts, and then if the cap is missing and it's corroded, the 18.5 comes into play. These are cheap. They'll cost you about $25, but they're worth their weight in gold. I actually use this socket more than I use a regular 19mm. I also use these small 1/4-inch flexible sockets. These are from Craftsman. I have a 7mm and an 8mm, and these things make a world of difference when it comes to tune-ups, and most importantly, that escape transmission shifter bushing recall. And the best way to use these is actually with a locking 1/4-inch extension, so you can't lose them. And when you pair these two together, it's like the ultimate combo for hard-to-get-to hose clamps or anything like that. Another great tool to have at your disposal is these Cornwell sockets. This is 8 through 19mm, and these are super stubby. So these sockets, they're super small, super shallow. You can fit these in just about anywhere. Like here's a 19mm, and this is great for belts. It's great for hard to reach areas, and they're super strong. I've never broken one. I use these all the time, almost every day. Okay, our 8th tool is this stubby 3/8 impact. This one is from Cornwall Tools, but I'm sure you can get a comparable one at Harbor Freight, or I know Flexzilla makes one as well. This thing is great for getting in super tight areas as well, specifically for doing like rack and pinions, or for actually what I bought it for. If you've ever worked on a Flex, an Explorer, or a Taurus, where the rear bushings blow out and you have to get the two 18mm nuts that are between the frame and the lower control arm, this thing paired with the 18mm shallow socket fits in there perfect, and it makes a world of difference when it comes to doing that job. You can make that job way faster, and instead of trying to use a swivel and a 1/2 inch and get it, to line up and in there, this is a direct fit right onto that bolt, and you don't really have to worry about breaking it as much because this will usually struggle just before it snaps the cage nut, so you know to heat it up just before that happens. Also, if you work on the rust belt and you don't already have an air hammer, you need to buy one. It's a necessity. You'll never make any money without one. And they have a variety of uses, from taking out axles and suspension. I mean, I just used one today on an Escape windshield wiper arm that didn't want to come off. This is the one I was using, this Cornwall one. It had a pretty good trigger control, but it didn't make the most power. I actually just retired this one to the house, and I bought an Ingersoll one that's a little bit stronger that I like a little bit more, and I'll leave a link to that one down below. But this is an absolute necessity for anybody working in any rusty areas. Got a couple of honorable mention tools for you here. They didn't quite make the cut as something that's really going to make you a bunch of money or save you a bunch of time, but they do help a ton. One is this tread depth gauge. It is digital, so you never have to try to sit there and read the manual gauge. This one just gives you a digital readout, and I think this is pretty cool. I use it every single day on every single car. And then also, if you can find one of these quart like fluid pump deals, these actually thread onto trans fluid bottles pretty much perfectly, and it makes it super easy to pump trans fluid into like a DCT trans on a Focus or any other manual trans. This video was a little bit shorter than the content I usually make, but I had a guy ask me today what tools I thought were necessary, working at a Ford dealership, going flat rate, things like that, and I figured I would outline it for you guys as well. So if you guys could subscribe, comment on this video, and leave a like, I'd surely appreciate it. See you guys in the next one.